Peace and love, family. It's your brother Isaiah again with another video for all the conscious brothers and sisters in the conscious community. Keeping the struggle because we know it's through the struggle that we grow. Also, I like to say that it is, in fact, a slow process for progress, and that the race is not to the swift, it's to those that can remain dutiful. So, gotta stay in it for the long haul. Y'all already know that my videos, they never constitute any legal advice. I'm not a legal counsel. I'm not an attorney. None of that. I'm just your brother. I just share with you education and information about my walks and travels throughout my journey called life. I like to extend all these honors to you because when you honor man and woman, you're definitely honoring yourself. I like to give all adoration and acknowledgement to Allah, which is the head temple of my life. Extend that same love, courtesy, and acknowledgement to all of his messengers and prophets. And I like to say peace to you, beloved brothers and sisters, and grand rising to all the chosen and woke ones. How's everyone today? As usual, constantly growing in step stages and degrees and unfolding in the womb of these two different worlds. Today, I wanted to come out and just speak a little bit about credit balances and stuff like that. Share a little love, you know how I do it. So, how y'all feeling? How the weather feeling where you at? It's feeling nice over there where you at? That's what's up. Everybody at peace. I hope everybody, family and everybody's safe and doing well, you know. It's a lot of things going on in the world. Stay conscious, stay woke, careful what you're taking in and what you eat. You know, we're living in some really, really troublesome times because it's a lot of deadly weapons and there are really quiet wars going on. And you got to be conscious of these wars that's being warred against the people and know how to identify these things. And paper terrorism and all these different contracts, agreements, and things that's being used to subject you to be in some sort of servitude to pay or to make some sort of obligation to fulfill a duty or performance or something, and not really understanding the agreement or the performance of what you were required to do, which bound you to some sort of obligation, you know. Inducement, you know, Satan is the arch deceiver. Satan a bad joker, you know. Yeah, he bad. He don't actually, you know, make you do nothing. He just suggested. You've already been induced from birth. You've been shaped into believing a certain way of being and living and doing and programming and stuff like that. So when Satan comes with his inducement, you automatically submit because you've been induced mentally to believe that this is how things go. So knowing your rights, knowing the time, knowing self, whew, is the most precious thing of life. Is to, if you're gonna give something to somebody, give them a knowledge of self. And the reason why I say a knowledge of self is because in knowing yourself, you know how to protect yourself from all things other than yourself. You won't find yourself in anything other than that which is of self, you know, all the unnatural stuff. And, you know, it's just so much, man, that we really have to learn. But one of the most important elements is knowing who you are. And if you think you are this, you gone. You gone. I mean, the flesh is part of the conduit of what we do, but knowing self, man, knowing the true self, knowing who you truly are, knowing your true name, knowing, you know, the difference in certain aspects and elements of how certain things go is very crucial. So, but let me get to the topic. I want to talk about credit treatment, treatment of credit balances, account termination. Now, I've seen a few videos where a few people, you know, went over this, right? They did a damn good job, you know. So I want to go back over this. You know, there's certain things that certain people didn't mention and didn't talk about. But I said, you know, we got to get it out here to the people. Yeah. So let me show you a few things, so the treatment of credit balances account termination, right? So one of the key things that you have to pay attention to, right? All right, when you're reading this, it got hyperlinks, credit balances, and account termination. So one thing that is really wanting you to pay the most attention to when you see a hyperlink is the credit balances. So whatever that means, is very important that you understand the word credit. It didn't say debt balances or none of that. It said credit balances. So whatever we're about to read is pertaining to credit imbalances and how these balances are identified in the contract or an agreement. So you got to be able to understand what's being stated to interpret the meaning of why people tell you that your bills are credits. And once you start reading the right stuff with the right concept, it'll make sense to you and you'll get it. You'll be like, oh, I get it, right? So a credit balance, right? Now remember, credit, we're dealing with credits. When a credit balance in excess of $1 is credited on a credit account through transmittal of funds to a creditor in excess of the total balance due on an account through rebate of unearned finance charge or insurance premium, or through amounts otherwise owed or held or held for the benefit of the consumer, right? So these amounts that it's talking about are rebates, premiums, and they are being withheld. They're being held back, but they're being held for the benefit of a consumer, right? But they're being transmitted to a creditor in excess of the total value, because the total value is the total amount of the total agreement. But they ain't giving you the total. They're giving you a rebate, just a portion, a certain amount. You see what I'm saying? But it's coming from a total value of a mass amount or a sum. So we're gonna get to it though. Let's keep going. So it says number one, it says the creditor shall, number one, credit the amount of the credit balance to the consumer account. Okay. It says number two, refund any part of the remaining credit balance within 7 business days from the receipt of a written request from the consumer. Okay. So, or make good faith effort to refund to the consumer by cash, check, or money order, or credit to a deposit account of the consumer any part of the credit balance remaining in the account for more than 6 months, right? No further action is required if the consumer's current location is not known to the creditor and cannot be traced through the consumer's last known address or telephone number, right? Now I get to talking about account termination, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down, right? Now I ain't gonna waste your time. I ain't got time to waste. We ain't got time to be wasting. We're gonna get straight to the meat, right? That's what we came here for, right? Now I want you to understand that they are required to do certain things when a certain type of individual can make a certain type of request. So upon the request by an administrator of an estate, a card issuer must, it didn't say may, it said he must. Look at the language. It said he must provide the administrator with the amount of the balance of the deceased consumer account in a timely manner. All right. So I just want I want you to see that, right? So it got certain requirements for the duty when it comes to an administrator. Now let's go back up because we're gonna go to the next page. So we're gonna go to the next page now. I'll show you something. Now this is talking about special credit card provisions, right? Now you have to know what a credit card is. All right, we ain't just talking about the little plastic EFT device. You got to know the difference between an EFT mechanism or device used to do EFTs with, and the difference in a credit card, which that backs up the EFT device. See, the credit card is what backs up the device, but a lot of people don't get it. They think the credit card is the actual card, but the card is not that. What you think, that's the EFT mechanism. You know what I'm saying? But it'll come to in time. Insurance of credit cards, right? It says, regardless of the purpose for which a credit card is to be used, including business, commercial, or agricultural use, no credit card shall be issued to any person except in response to an oral or a written request or application for the card, right? As renewal or substitute for an accepted card, not in the sense that it's talking about a credit card, right? Now we're gonna go down, because when you're dealing with the credit card, it's a certain way. See, I don't think we really get how it really works, and because we don't understand how it's working, we don't understand what's actually happening. So when you're using your credit card, right, which will be your debit card or your actual credit card, what you're doing is you're making purchases. So if there's a $50 amount for an item in a store and you use your credit card, what you're doing is you're purchasing that purchase amount with the credit card. So you're making a purchase of the purchase amount using the credit card. So whenever you use the card, you're making a purchase, and every purchase you make is a deposit to your credit card account. Okay? I want you to understand that. Now, the credit card statement is what covers the charges for the use of the credit card. But most of us have not been taught this stuff, right? So we don't know actually what's happening, right? Let me keep going though. Now, it's talking about the liability of a card holder for unauthorized use. Now, if you are the holder of a credit card and you don't have authorized use to use the card, it says the definition of authorized use for the purposes of this section, the term unauthorized use means the use of a credit card by a person other than the card holder, who does not have actual, implied, or apparent authority to use such authority for the use of the card, right? And from which the card holder receives no benefit. So if anybody's using, like, say for instance, like you receive a credit card, right? And somebody else other than you is receiving benefits from the use of the card, and you ain't receiving no benefits for the use of the card, right? And you got to understand that the credit card is the actual agreement that you're in possession of. You're in possession of the agreement, which covers the usage of the card that you have in your possession, right? You got to understand the difference. Now check this out. So we're gonna go down some. Like I say, I ain't got time to waste. We're gonna get straight to the meat. Search the claim, the issuer. So you got to understand the difference of who the card issuer is and who is the card holder. All right. So that's very important that you understand the card issuer and the card holder. All right. Check this out. We got to go down. All right. So now right here is talking about the offset by card issuer is forbidden, right? So the one who issues you the credit card is forbidden to show you how to offset your card, right? But it's a forbidden. Now let's read it. It says the card issuer may not take any action either before or after termination of a credit card privileges to offset a card holder's indebtedness arising from the consumer credit transaction under a relevant credit card plan. So it's letting you know that they recognize it as a credit card agreement, that it's all credit, and they can't help you offset your indebtedness to offset what the credits that you're entitled to, right? It says the card plan against funds of a card holder held on deposit with the card issuer. So the one that's holding the card has funds held on deposit with the one who issued the card. Now, ain't that something? And he can't help you make him fulfill his obligation to you, to offset the obligation that's due to you. Now, if you understand what the card is that he's holding, that he has an obligation for, then you will understand why he can't help you offset your indebtedness. Let's keep going. All right, so now we're talking about now listen to this language. I'm gonna just let you listen to the language so you can see for yourself what it's really talking about. We're gonna start from number 2. It says this paragraph does not alter or affect the rights of the card issuer acting under state law or federal law to do any of the following with regards to the funds of a card holder held on deposit with the card issuer, right? If the same procedures and constitutionality are available to creditors generally, obtain or enforce a consensual security agreement in the fund. So whenever they make you pay them, they're enforcing a security agreement in your funds because you didn't understand that he got funds on deposit for you. So you didn't know, so he claimed the interest in them and now he charging you for the same funds that is already available for you. Pretty much like, and I'm gonna show you a couple of things, right? Before I get off here, right? Now, attach or otherwise levy upon the funds or obtain or enforce a court order relating to the funds. So he can, boom, because he in possession, he can make claims and lay claims on your property if your property ain't secured, right? Now it says this paragraph does not forbid a plan if authorized in writing by the card holder under which the card issuer may periodically deduct all or part of the card holder's credit card debt from the deposit account held with the card issuer. Subject, and then it give you, so it's letting you know that you can basically tell them to deduct from the actual account that they already got funds held that's already available to be credited to the account. Right now, listen to this. Now, prompt notification of a return and crediting of funds. Now, of refund, right? Now, you got to know what a return is, right? When you hear the word return, you got to understand what that actually means, right? And you got to understand what a refund is. We're going to learn today, right? Let's keep that. Now, prompt notification of a crediting of refund. Now, y'all give me the likes. Make sure you give me the like. You know, if you ain't subscribed, it's your first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss none of the updates when I come and I drop. You want to get it when I'm dropping, right? Ain't nothing like having it right there on the scene right now. And make sure if you like what I'm doing, you donate to the Cash App of the People's Remedy Inc. And show some love, some support. All right, let us get back to it. Now, and it says that when a creditor, right? Now we're talking about a creditor and we're talking about notification of return. So I want you to know you get a notification of a return. Now, when you get a notification, if you don't know that it's for a return, then you don't know what the hell it's talking about. You got to study. But I'm going to share a little piece of my mind with you today because I want you to know something. It's something out here for you. But you got to get your head together, right? Check it out. Now it says prompt. Prompt means hurry, right? Notification of return, right? And crediting of refunds. Okay, I want you to listen to the language because I want you to get what it's talking about, right? Now, let's get into this. Now, when a creditor, hold on, let's see what a creditor is. A creditor, a person who regularly extends consumer credit. 3, that is subject to a finance charge or is payable by written agreement in more than 4 installments, not including the down payment. Oh, so the down payment is not included, right? And to whom the obligation is initially payable. So you mean to tell me that, wait a minute, it's telling you that the instrument itself is payable to you. It's payable to you on its face. Like, listen to the language, man. Let me read this again because I want you to understand what it's saying. Now, the creditor is a person who regularly extends consumer credit. Now, that is subject to a finance charge. Now, the consumer is the taxpayer, right? So you're extending that consumer's credit, and that credit that you're extending is subject to a finance charge. And it is payable by either a written agreement in more than 4 installments, and is not including a down payment, and to whom the obligation is initially payable, right? Either on its face of the note or the contract by agreement when there is no note or contract. So it says it's payable either on its face of the note or the contract or by agreement, right? It's evident on its face, right? And the instrument itself is the evidence of an obligation. So if you sign it and put your name on it, you agreeing to the terms of it, right? Now, if somebody offered those terms, then quite naturally you would want them to fulfill their duty upon deposit, right? So let's read this. It says, when a creditor, now that we understand who the creditor or what a creditor is talking about in this sense, if it was talking about them, you would have known. In this sense, it's not talking about them. And I want you to understand that when you read this stuff, you got to hit the hyperlinks so you can know what it's talking about, like card issuer. See, I know what it means. So I'm just reading it, but I'm going to let you read it. Card issuer means a person that issues a credit card or that person's agent with respects to the card. So it could be the dealership issuing you the credit card, what you about to give credit to, right? But it could be the bank that be the owner of that card. See what I'm saying? So in that sense, that is letting you know how it works, right? So you can understand what's actually taking place. But I just wanted to show you so you can understand who is who and who is really talking about. All right. So when a creditor, other than the card issuer, see, they know the card issuer in a sense is a creditor, right? But in this sense, they're not wanting you to look at him as the creditor. They want you to look at somebody else other than him as the creditor. Now let's read it again. It says, when a creditor other than the card issuer accepts the return of property or forgiveness of a debt for services that is to be reflected as a credit to the consumer account, credit card account, that creditor shall within 7 business days from accepting the return or forgiving the debt, transmit a credit statement to the card issuer through the card issuer's normal channel for credit statements. Now, credit statement? Wait a minute. So So it's saying that if the car issuer accepts a return. So what is a return? Of property. So a return of property, if somebody issues property in the name of the principal, the obligor, and somebody accepts that, how do you do an acceptance? Do you write accepted? Sometimes people write accepted, but then acceptance is just really an endorsement, right? Just a signature. When you accept the contract, what you do? You sign it, right? So if somebody signs and accepts property in return of the property or for forgiveness of a service, for the service, so it's basically saying you accept the charge for the service and then return back to basically settle the charge. See, that's what I'm seeing when I read it, right? Now, our forgiveness of the debt is to be reflected as a credit to the consumer account. So when you accept it, sign it, and then turn it and return it back, then that's you're basically asking for a credit to the account, right? The creditor shall, within 7 business days from accepting the return. So from the day you accept the property to return it back, because that's the only thing they could be meaning when they say return. What else could they be talking about that you need to return? Talk to the brother, because I want to talk about it. And I get the best one of them to come out here and talk to me about it, because I know what it's talking about, the return of the same value, right? Right? What is the opposite of a debit? Why will a bill be in error? If it's not reflective of a credit. So the only thing that could cause you not to overstand a bill if you don't know the difference of debits and credits. Maybe what you think is a credit is actually a debit, and what you think is a debit is actually a credit. And because of your misinterpretation of the two terms, you find yourself in a mixture of misinterpretation. All right, let me show you something. Let Brother Isaiah teach you for a minute. Man, I hope I ain't lose mine. I don't think I did. Legal definition of credit balance. Okay. All right, so it's talking about, I wanted to show you something else. I ain't gonna go there. Let me go back. So what is the purpose of a negative balance on an account? So it appears as a negative account balance. This means that your credit card company owes you money instead of the other way around. Typically, this happens when you've overpaid your outstanding balance, or if you've had a credit returned to your account, right? So whenever your account go negative, that means that you have credit. If you received a statement and it said negative 250 was due on the 15th, you would know that that's credit. You would know that, oh, I ain't got I don't have no obligation. They said that I got a credit. You wouldn't be saying, oh, it's in the negative. That means I got to go pay it. If you've been paying it as a positive your whole life. So why would you go pay it if it come to you as a negative? Wouldn't that be the other way around? Why would your perception look at it the opposite way? Credits work below the zero and debits work above the zero. How many times Brother Isaiah got to say it, man? How many times I got to run it past you and show it to you that what I'm saying is true and correct, right? Now check this out. Now, so would this mean that if you went on your bank account, right, and you decided to pull up your bank account online, right now, you go on there, you say, man, let me pull this up while Brother Isaiah talk about it. Pull it up, right? And then you pull that mug right up and you go to your recent transactions, right? Recent. We're talking about recent now. Now, Brother Isaiah, I've been teaching you that the bank account is a secured account, right? And the debit card is a secured card because it's already prepaid because it's coming from a secured account. The bank is an insured bank. They can't give out nothing but insured accounts. Now, these are facts, right? Now, as long as you don't purchase and make deposits against your purchases over $250,000, the bank is supposed to pay every purchase you make using the card. These are facts, right? Now, you know I ain't lying, and this is how I'm gonna prove it to you. If you go and you look at your recent transactions, it's going to come up to say what this is saying is true, right? It's going to show you that every time you use the prepaid card, right, and you purchase the item at its purchase price and made that purchase against your account, it shows that the bank didn't pay the amount and that the bank owes you that amount because it shows that the amount remains negative. Why? The reason why it's showing a negative amount on your purchases is because those amounts remain unpaid by the bank. If the bank would have paid the deposit with the card deposit amount, then they would have never touched your funds and it would have zeroed that amount out to zero, right? And you would have never got charged. But when the bank charged you, instead of zeroing out the amount with the equivalent of the deposit from the card that's already insured, it showed that the bank owes an obligation to you. Now, when you read debits and credit, most of y'all see the negative and don't even know what the hell it means. It means they owe you money. That's what it means. Look, let's read it again. Now clap for me, because I know you're over there like, yeah, bro, blowing your mind. And yeah, I know it. Check it out now. It said, it appears as a negative account balance. Now, it appears. Everything ain't what it appears or what it seems. Just because it seems and it appears that way, we supposed to believe that that's what it is. See, that's why you watch too much TV. All of y'all spooked out because y'all watch too much TV and stuff. Television. They done told you all these visions and you've been believing in these lies. And now it's time to break the cycle. Time to come back to your good grace, back to reality, back to a sound way of thinking. You know, we got to start questioning everything. What the hell? Question everything, right? Now, they say that it appears as a negative balance. This means that your credit card company owes you money instead of the other way around. So the overdraft, when you overdraft your bank account, that means that the bank owes that amount. They extended the loan, but it's showing that the bank has an obligation to credit the amount to your account. See, but they're not crediting it. They're just leaving it on the account as an obligation that you have to perform, when really in actuality, that negative amount shows that they owe you instead of the other way around. And when you look at your recent transactions online, it shows that the bank owe you for every purchase you made that they didn't pay. Facts. Now let's go back. That I got that out the way. So when a creditor other than the card issuer accepts the return of property or forgiveness of a debt for services that is to be reflected as a credit to the consumer account, right? It says the credit card account, the creditor shall within 7 business days from accepting the return or the forgiving the debt, transmit a credit statement to the credit card issuer through the credit card issuer's normal channels for credit statements. Now, what is a credit statement? Let's Google this. Legal definition of credit statement. All right, so it says a statement of credit card account which shows credit card transactions and the amounts due that the card holder must pay to the bank as a result of the use of the credit card, right? Now, I believe it's talking about the credit card statements that you get, that they send you in the mail, that's what they telling you to pay with, right? That's what you're supposed to be using, is the statements. Let's read this. There is a credit balance shown on my statement. What is the credit balance? A credit balance on your billing statement is an amount that the card issuer owes you. Wait a minute, now this is the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Hold up. Now, what it say? I know I ain't tripping. I know I ain't tripping. Let's read it again. There is a credit balance shown on my statement. What is a credit balance? It says a credit balance on your billing statement is the amount that the card issuer owes you. Let's keep reading. Credits are added to your account each time you make a payment. A credit might be added when you return something you bought with your credit card. Credits can be added to your account because of rewards or whatever, right? So usually when you get a credit to your account, it always shows up as a negative, right? That you received the credit from the credit card. And then, you say, oh, well, I got a credit of $200 on my account that they probably going to apply next month. So, you know what I'm saying? Because it's showing up in the negative as a credit amount, right? So whenever you're paying your bills, why you not paying with credits? Why you trying to pay with debits? If they, well, most of y'all think you hold up, let me stop. Because it's crazy because, man, that's crazy. Let me just keep going. All right, check it out. So it says, the card issuer shall, within 3 business days from the receipt of a credit statement, credit the consumer account with the amount of the refund. Wait a minute. It says credit the consumer account with the amount of the refund. Hold on, let's see what amount means. Where the word amount is used in this regulation to describe disclosure requirements, it refers to numerical amount, right? All right, so they shall credit the actual credit amount, the negative amount, to the consumer account of a refund, right? Now check it out. Let's keep reading. If a creditor other than the credit card issuer routinely gives cash refunds to consumers paying in cash, right? If they overpay, the creditor shall also give credit or cash refunds to consumers using credit cards. Now, if you know what the credit card is now, it's jumping from credit statements to credit cards. So you gotta understand you gotta understand and catch what's being said, right? Now, unless it discloses at the time the transaction is consummated that the credit or cash refund for returns are not given, this section does not require refunds for returns, nor does it forbid refunds in any kind, right? So, and check this out. So then it got the discount ties and arrangement. No card issuer may, by contract or otherwise, number one, forbid any person who honors a credit card from offering a discount to the consumer to induce the consumer to pay by cash, right, check, or similar means rather than use the credit card or its underlying account for the purchase of the property or the services. So, man, ooh, that's powerful, man. Do you understand what that just said? So basically, you got the right to use your account and purchase and pay using your account. But if they can induce you by writing stuff in the agreement to make you believe you obligated to use other forms of payment in order to make payment, and you choose those options, then nobody can step in and say nothing about it, because you got a right to use your credit card. I'm just saying. Hey, don't get, hey, don't, hey, look, you're reading, I'm showing it to you, right? Now, all right, so let me go back up real quick. All right, so as long as the person who is considered as the creditor, honors the credit card and accepts the return. Let's look up this legal definition of this word return. Legal definition of the word return. All right, now, so it just falls within the fact that somebody doing a return, a report or something, just basically returning a report. Because like you do the same thing when, so in any act, you would basically be performing your duty to discharge the principal's obligation, whether I'm dealing with a court, whether I'm dealing with the Child Protective Services, it don't matter who it is, right? So it's the delivery of a they call it a court order or the proper officer, right? So they let you know to the proper officer or to our court. So it's just basically delivery of an order. I don't know, or as a writ. So basically you sending something as the proper officer to basically issue the order on behalf of another party, basically. So let's go back. As a matter of fact, let's go down some. So, let me go back now. So let's read it. Sometimes you got to read it from different aspects, right? So let's read it from there. I'm going to show you this is how I do my homework, right? So to bring, carry, or to send back, right? To restore or to redeliver or replace in the custody of someone. Merchandise bought back to the seller for credit or a refund. Sounds pretty dang clear to me. Ah, man, that sounds pretty damn clear to me. I don't know about you guys, but hey, that sounds pretty damn clear to me, right? Hey, check it out. Let's read that again. It sounds so lovely. Let's read it again. To bring, carry, or send back, to restore, redeliver, or replace in the custody of someone. Merchandise bought back to the seller for credit or a refund. So you bringing back the merchandise. Hey man, take this back and give me my money. Credit me, man. You know, I don't. You can't sell this to me. I'm gonna give it back to you, but you can give me, you know, credit for it. You know, that I mean, it says the profit made on a sale, right? The income from an investment. So every bill you get is the profit from the sales they selling on the original note, or it's the investment, you know. It says a schedule of information. All it is information required by some governmental agency, such as a tax return, right? That must be submitted to what? The Internal Revenue Service. The official report made by a court body or magistrates of an official board charged with the, the counting votes, right? So it's just letting you know basically what a return is, right? So when you get it, you get it. What a return is, right? So when you're reading it says talking about when the creditor other than the card issue accepts the return of the property or forgiveness or forgives a debt, you are the one who forgives the debt, because if you keep the debt, then the principal stays liable for the return of the property that was extended on his account as a loan. So anytime an amount is created and extended on that account, then the principal has received a loan. If that loan is not returned and credited to the account, then the principal remains liable for the amount balance. So every month you have an outstanding balance in the previous balance of an unpaid amount that never got paid. Right? So it's very important that you, when you go into this stuff, man, you got to take your time and actually really, like I said, type on the hyperlinks and really do your research and read this stuff to comprehend it, to extract from it, you know, the meaning, the interpretation of what's being stated. Like really, you know, like putting in the work to really understand what actually is being said in these acts and why it's taking you to like all these other acts that are in relation. Like if you go to all the other acts that it takes you to, right? It takes you right to like electronic funds transfers and stuff like that, and how all this stuff is all tied together. And the more you read it, like if you go to the definitions, right, and you start reading the definitions, it says an access device, right, means a card, code, or other means of an access to a consumer account, or any combination thereof that may be used by the consumer to initiate electronic funds transfer, right? So an access device is any device that's used to access your account. Any device, whether it's by a PIN number or whatever. It says an access device becomes an accepted access device when the consumer requests and receives or signs and uses or authorizes another to use the access device to transfer money between accounts or to obtain money, property, or services. Request validation of an access device issued on an unsolicited basis. So the access device is what a lot of people be calling the credit card. But I keep telling y'all that I was showing you earlier that the credit card is the agreement, right? Now we're reading about what we call the access device. That when you you receive it, or you know what I'm saying, you sign for it. All right, so you receive an access device and renewal of and in substitution for an accepted access device for either a financial institution that initially issued the device or a successor, right? An account means a demand deposit, checking, savings, or other consumer access account. So it's letting you know right here that a checkings or a savings account is an asset account. You got to be able to go in here and pick this stuff apart. If you can't read to catch on to what's being said, you're going to always just be on one just checking account, because when you go in here and read it, you're not trying to extract. It's letting you know that what an account is. So an account is a demand deposit account. So that means if you got any account, it's a demand deposit account. And it's letting you know that a checking account is also a demand deposit or a savings. But also an account. So if you got a T-Mobile account, that's a demand deposit account. Right? Account means a demand deposit. Right? See? An account means a demand deposit. So, but it's letting you know that the most familiar accounts that people demand deposits against is checkings and savings accounts. Usually when a person demands payment of a deposit is usually when they deposit something in checkings and savings. you know, if it's interest bearing or whatever, right? So, but it's letting you know that an account, if you got any account, I want you to get it. I want to make sure that today you don't miss what I'm trying to show you, right? An account itself, just the word account alone means a demand deposit. So they telling you that you supposed to demand deposit against your account. Any account is a demand deposit or other consumer asset account other than an occasional or incidental credit balance in a credit plan, right? Held directly or indirectly by a financial institution and is established primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, right? It says the term includes a payroll account, and it gets going into the different types of accounts, right? So I ain't gonna go into all of that. I'm gonna go down a little bit more, right? So it tells you that a consumer means a natural person, right? You gotta be careful with the word natural and person because we know that all persons are entities. So, you know, and even though a lot of people would say, well, that as a man, we not uh persons, and I say, well, a man is embodied of a person. That's one of the curses of being born in this world is that we embodied in this body. You know what I'm saying? We know that we not our body. We know that we are something much greater. Our ability to grow hearts, lungs, and everything inside this body that we do shows our magnificence, shows how great we are, right? It shows that we have enormous powers to do great things. All right, but we are bound to this flesh. Well, you're not really bound to it spiritually, because you can ascend your flesh, but you know, the body being born in this body, you know, being having to use it as a conduit to travel, right? And they saying that you are a natural person in the sense that the person is always consisted of the body, the actual flesh. Most people, when you think you're a person, you think that you this. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, you got to understand what's actually happening. Most people that think that they persons think that they are their body. You think that you, John Henry Doe, you think that this body is you. This is not you. This is not the real you. This is not who you are. This is a conduit. This is just the projection of what you're projecting to all of us to see. But the true person or the true entity within you is the spirit, and it really has no name to it, right? It exists that it exists, but that's the true self, is the inner self, right? And the natural self and the natural man, knowing self. Now, if it would have said natural man, then that would have been a different, but it says natural person. So in this sense, it could be talking about your flesh and blood person. You know what I mean? It could be talking about like this flesh when it says natural person, right? In reference to consumer. But in that sense, we really still don't trust this phrase. So, but the consumer is always, to me, the entity, the person, right? And no matter what you say, it's a lot of people that are still say you the person because they saying that this is the person, right? Credit means the right granted by a financial institution to a consumer to defer the payment of a debt. Incur the debt and defer its payment, or purchase property or services and defer payment thereof. So whenever you receive any debt, it's only for you to defer payment with it. To defer payment, a lot of people don't get it, right? So if it's talking about a financial institution and it's talking about giving or granting the consumer a right to defer payment of a debt. So in order for you to defer the payment of the debt, you got to actually have the debt in your possession. How else could you defer it, right? Unless you don't know what this word defer really means. Now let's look this up. I like to show you. Black's Law definition of the word defer. Black's Law definition of the word defer. Right? It says an international delay until a future date, right? Now, a lot of people don't get it, right? But I'm gonna break it down to you what it means by defer the debt, right? So to defer is to see. I'm gonna show you how they getting you, right? So to defer, right, is to delay or postpone, right? Or to conclude or close a meeting such as that of a board of directors, right? To adjourn, right? So hold up, let's go back. Let's go up. No, I just went there. Let me go back. Because a lot of y'all ain't catching it, right? So the definition of defer in Black's Law different, to delay, put off, to put it off, to delay it. Wait till I break it down what it's actually saying, right? Remained, postponed to a future time, right? The term does not have, however, the meaning abolished, right? So, man, I'm finna get up out of here after this, right? I gotta drop this jewel, right? I gotta drop it, right? So to defer the debt, right? Now that we know it means to delay it, to put it off, right? So a credit, right, means the right granted by a financial institution. Let me show some of y'all, because they be like, how we know what the financial institution it was talking about? A financial institution means a bank, a savings association, a credit union, or any other person that directly or indirectly holds an account belonging to a consumer. So now you know why I tell you T-Mobile is a financial institution, why I be saying that. I don't just be making it up. I read, I study, and that's why, whatever. But check it out. So anybody that's holding an account that belongs to a consumer is considered to be a financial institution, because only an insured institution can deal with a consumer. You got to be a certain kind of institution, right? Or that issues an access device and agrees with the consumer to provide electronic fund transfer services. See, now I keep telling y'all, I keep saying it's a credit card, and I keep telling you that it is not a credit card. It is a electronic funds transfer device. The credit card is the agreement covering that device that you call a credit card. Get it together. You go, wait a minute. Hey, I hope to see y'all in Philadelphia when the brother goes live for the 3 days. Y'all ain't gonna want to miss kicking it with the brother, man. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have a marvelous time. We're gonna be full of the word and full of information that can change our lives, and that's what it's about, us having the information and then ultimately being able to apply that information, finding it in our states and doing what we have to do to secure our families and our lives and the things that we are entitled to, because we've been misled or taught wrong. And it's for us to reteach ourselves the truth, like, about this information. But I got you, I'm your brother, I got you, right? So now, where was I at? So the credit means the right granted by a financial institution to a consumer to defer, right? Payment of a debt, right? So credit is whenever you enter into a debt and they don't charge you for the debt. They don't make you pay the full amount of that debt up front. Instead, they defer it to a later date. They say, oh, you can just pay us in installments. You can wait a minute. We're going to defer this to a later date, right? So to put it off, to let it be paid at a later time. See, but you're not catching on. Let Brother Isaiah bring it to your attention. Let me help you out a little bit if it's a little difficult for you to catch on to what's being said, right? So credit is the right granted by the financial institution to a consumer. So they're granting you a right, to defer the payment. So when they grant you the right, you got to understand what they're saying. So you got a right to payment of the debt. Huh? You getting it? Is it starting to ring a little bit? You got a right to payment of the debt up front. But instead, the creditor can grant you a right to credit at a later date. And if he enter into a credit agreement with you at a later date, and you don't know how to credit the agreement, he can actually charge you for the same credits that he promised to lend you later on at a later date. But really, in actuality, you have a right to payment up front to discharge the total obligation. But he can allow you to defer to a later date. I want you to get it, man, because if you don't get it, then you wouldn't understand why you got amounts due and stuff like that. And you wouldn't understand that this is all credit. And we've been always dealing with credit. We just have not been acknowledging credit because matter of fact, credit don't even exist. That's why you don't think of negative numbers. It's like they made sure you never in your life think of that. They was like, no, what you mean negative? Write a negative check. What's talking about? It's like, what? Because you would never in your life think of that. Just think about it. From what you see on TV and everything that they ever showed you your whole life, who else taught you about? I got people that went to school for accounting that they ain't even been peeping this. They got to come and give me my flowers like, boy, you bad. I told them Billy Jane bad. You hear me? I'm telling you, man, because you got to pay attention. In this day and time, your attention frame got to be magnetic. You got to be able to be on it, man. Listen, man, I sacrificed a lot to learn what I've learned over the years to be able to provide this forefront of information for y'all so that we all collectively can have resources, right? Like for me to share my mindset with you is the gift, because that's the gift. The gift is not anybody can go read this, but we all don't have the same interpretation of it. Some of us have different understanding of the information, right? Can break it down a little different. So me expressing that and giving that of myself to show you is my gift or my charity to you is when I share that. Like, more people, I want to be more visual, I want to see, but if you can't go in and read for yourself and start putting the pieces of the puzzle together for yourself, then maybe this, you got to understand, I just showed you what a return of credit statement. Let me show you something else. Legal definition of bill of lading. Okay, so a bill of lading, right? Now we know that a bill of lading is a bill, or what we call a billing statement, or a credit statement, because I just showed you that what it really is, right? So, because they violating the Constitution, they ain't supposed to be issuing statements of credit, but they doing it, right? Now, a bill of lading means a transportation document used as a receipt of goods, as documentary evidence of title for clearing customs, and generally used as a contract of carriage. Now, ain't that beautiful? What other kind of definition do you need in order for you to achieve the goal of understanding what just was said to you? Now, let me read it one more time for those that just need a little bit more clarity, right? So it means that it's a transportation document. Wait a minute. So a bill of lading, which is known as a receipt, we call it a receipt for the month for our account, bill of lading, you know, so you get a statement or a receipt at the end of the month from the bank and everybody, right? Now, you didn't know that it's a transport document, that is transporting certain amounts that are due to a certain party, right? It's used as a receipt of goods or as documentary evidence of title. So if you got a bunch of these documents on file with Cash App and PayPal, you got a lot of titles in your possession to amounts that are due to you, right? Now, you understand what these statements are for, right? Now, for clearing customs and for the use as contract carriage. So for the contract carriage, for you to receive the transported amounts that are available from contract, right? Now, watch this. What is an endorsed billing statement? Let's see if we can see images. There's a lot of y'all ain't getting it. Is a bill of lading a check? Hold up. Go back to all. All right, so original bills of lading, negotiable, right? And the reason why a lot of times, like when a lot of y'all send y'all bills to the Treasury and they be saying that it's non-negotiable, it all depends on how you endorsing the instruments and the way you present in your orders. If you make it payable to the order of the principal, that's non-negotiable because you're not making it payable to the Treasury. If you're making it payable to your principal and sending it, you got to understand negotiability, right? So original bill of lading, negotiable, must be endorsed by the consignee. Now, who is the consignee? It's the buyer, the one that's purchasing the bill, right? Really it's the consumer, but you're the agent using that consumer. So, right, you're the buyer. When being transferred to a third party, such as a freight forward, and much like a check that is made out to a specific party. So it's letting you know that the bill is a negotiable document. Somebody said the original bill comes from one party to you. It's endorsed by you, the buyer, to a third party, which is the one that's you're going to send it to. This is what this is law, man. This is like, you know, you gotta understand how this stuff works. Like, you think people making it up, but it's not made up. It's just most people understand it from different levels, right? So a bill of lading is dealing with, you know, goods and how goods are being carried and how, you know, you got to go and read up on what these documents are. You know, I got time to really go into everything, right? But I just wanted to kind of just show you a few things just to let you know that it's a check, right? Right. And it's also considered as a receipt, right? Watch this, legal definition of receipt.
According to law, Cornell University, a legal document evidencing a buyer has purchased and taken possession of the goods. A receipt can range from a small paper itemization of goods purchased in a retail setting to a document that a person storing an item has to prove another's ownership.
So listen to the last part of the definition. It says, so we know just from this video, just from you watching this video, I know you feeling a relief because I just gave out some Jews on her. I hope to see a lot of y'all, man. Like I said, at the seminar, man, that I'm having, come kick it with your brother, man, in Philadelphia, man, we're gonna have a blast. Like I said, it says that a legal document evidencing that a buyer has purchased and taken possession of goods. Now, I just showed you that it said that a bill of lading also acts as a receipt. So if you are the one buying the purchases for the principal on that account, then that means you are the one signing and taking possession of the goods or the receipt, right? Now, a receipt can range from small purchase, paper itemization of goods purchased in a retail setting to a document that a person storing an item. See, somebody's storing an item. How we know they storing it, y'all? Because they telling us in the item that the amount is due. Has to prove another's ownership. So if you don't send back your acceptance of that offer, is it starting to ding-a-ling-a-ling? Is it starting to make sense now? Right? It's called a warehouse receipt. What are they warehousing? Interest. The act of receiving something. Oh, the act of receiving something. So if you don't act as if you received something and send it back, maybe you didn't receive nothing. But I'm gonna count it up, baby. You hear me? But let me read another definition for you, because Brother Isaiah, I like to teach. We're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. You ain't messing with the average Joe here. You're messing with a scholar. Let's get it. Now, check it out. Now, hey, this all God-given. Now, it's all God-given wisdom, right? Check it out. Legal definition of receipt. A receipt is an acknowledgement in writing that a party given the same has received from the person therein named the money or other thing therein specified. Receipt. A receipt is an acknowledgement in writing that the party given the same has received from the person therein named the money or other thing therein specified, although expressed to be in full of the demand. It is only prima facie evidence of what it purports to be, and upon satisfactory proof being made that it was obtained by fraud or given either under a mistake of fact or in ignorance of law, it may be inquired into and corrected into court of law as well as in equity. A receipt in full given with a full acknowledgement of all the circumstances in absence of fraud seems to be conclusive, right? So a receipt is just you acknowledging that you actually received something, right? So if they send you a bill and the bill is a receipt and you received it, right? When you want to inform the other party of the receipt of whatever you receive, when you want to send them a copy of the receipt signed by you so he can know you received it, right? So basically, that's one definition, but a receipt has many more definitions. Let me show you. A receipt is a written acknowledgement by a recipient of payment for goods. So the goods is the amount stated in the instrument, and the receipt is your acknowledgement of that payment, right? Payment of a debt or receiving property from another. Business owners have private policies governing a purchaser's rights to return or exchange goods without a receipt, indicating proof of purchase. A receipt may also be required as proof of ownership or purchase price in variety of circumstances. Now it didn't say in some circumstances, it said in a variety of circumstances, a receipt is a crucial document of purchases. Price in variety of circumstances, such as insurance claims, loss of property claims, and rebates, right? So, you know, when you issuing them receipts, right? A receipt is the proof of a payment being received. So in most cases, when you receive a statement, you're receiving a receipt of an account statement, which is a statement of account, statement of money of account. And the money is over a certain amount in which you have the right to have that amount credited. So you got to do a return of the statement in order to credit it for the return, right? So the statement also acts as evidence of a receipt. So the detachment of the coupon portion of the statement, most people are using the coupon to try to pay as the proceeds, which is the money that's basically detached from a bond or some type of, and it's also evidence of a payment, right? But a lot of times when you send in your receipt, right, you want to send in your receipt along with your payment, with the amount that you're actually entitled for payment. So if you think about it, you're not trying to actually pay nothing, is you? We're talking about credit, all right? So I want you to change your concept when you think about what I'm saying, all right? So when you receive a bond or you receive an offer for credit, remember, he's offering you credit every time he offers you an amount. So when you receive an offer of credit, you accept that credit by signing the offer, right? And then you return the offer and demand that the amount offered be paid out, right? So the return of the same for payment of the amount offered, right? So the bond or the contract that creates the performance on the seller, remember, according to law, an assignment of a contract or an assignment of rights creates performance, or an assignment of any type upon acceptance of the other party creates strict performance. So if you accept the bill in any way, you agree to perform the face of value of what it's saying, whether by paying it out your pocket or whatever. Or if you return it for value to be credited to your account, right? Now, when you return it for credit to your account, the statement upon you signing it, the reason why most people don't get why you signing the statement, because the statement covers all the terms of the agreement. It tells you all the terms for the services. It tells you when the amount is actually due. It tells you everything. Now, that is the actual offer of the amount that you, without the statement, you wouldn't know of how much is due. You wouldn't know none of that. So the terms come on the face of the statement. So when you get the statement, you got to endorse it because that's how you accept its terms, right? Now, When you sign that, you have just created a contract, offer and acceptance. Now, in order for them to perform their duty, they got to have title. The title is the contract. You know how when you opened up that account, you had to sign that you received something from them, you had to sign it, and then you had to give it back to them. And then they opened up a bank account. You're like, man, you know, or they gave you a vehicle or some other stuff, right? Now you receive something from them, you open it, you know, and you keep it. I wonder why you ain't doing it the same thing that you did with the original contract. You signed that and gave it back. So when you receive something else from them, why you ain't signing that and giving it back? Why are you keeping that? Ain't that the same thing as the original? So if they took the original by you signing it and giving value and said that even though it had amounts due on it, they still took it back, right? So why won't they take back the other bills that's coming with the amounts due if you sign it and give it back? What would be the difference? It ain't no different than the original note when it had amounts. I mean, talk to me now. I mean, I could be wrong, but I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. And now we say the receipt. Now, I would say that the coupon act is the receipt that goes along with the contract. Now, a lot of people don't get the contract aspects and elements of the agreement. A lot of people just want to send back the coupon and then just hold on to the contract. Like they ain't pay. You ain't turn back the contract. So you gotta send back the contract. How's they gonna perform and they ain't got no contract agreement? Give them the agreement along with the receipt. The receipt is for the purchase of the agreement and the payment of the purchase. Just that simple, you know. The receipt is very powerful, man. So there you have it, man. I think I shared enough with y'all for the moment. So, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Like I said, you know, I got the Philadelphia seminar coming up. You know, I got a lot of great information that I'm gonna be sharing with the people, man. So come out so you can get this information and, you know, keep it and be able to use it for, you know, for your family and, you know, your friends and anybody else that's in need of this information, man. And make sure you give me a like, you share the video, and most definitely stay tuned for the next one, because I definitely be coming back. I'm gonna leave you guys like I always do, in love and truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality for us all. I hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful night. In all your endeavors, make sure you get understanding. And by all means, keep the struggle, because in the struggle, there is growth and development. And with that, I leave you in peace. Salute.